guys, I'm Councillor Lisa Robinson. Let me say something that Canadian media refuses to say out loud while they spoon feed you fluff and distractions. Something enormous is happening in the Senate right now, something that will affect every Canadian, every family, and every paycheck. And they're not talking about it. They're not warning you, and they're not even whispering it. But I will, because you deserve the truth about the so-called guaranteed livable basic income that's being pushed through without real national conversation. Because what's happening right now in the Senate of Canada is not a regular policy debate. It is a turning point. On May 28th, Bill S-206, titled An Act to Develop a National Framework for a Guaranteed Livable Basic Income, was introduced into the Senate. Then, just a couple of weeks ago, on November the 6th, it passed second reading and was sent to committee. They've given it a name that sounds compassionate. Guaranteed Livable Basic Income. It sounds like kindness and it sounds like relief. But don't be fooled. This bill is nothing less than the single greatest expansion of government economic control that we've ever faced here in Canada. And I don't say that lightly. We've already lived through what happens when you give a government power over survival. We've seen bank accounts frozen, not for crime or terrorism, but for political disagreement. We've seen mandates that dictated whether you could enter a restaurant, board a plane, keep your job, visit a dying parent, or simply exist in public, all based on compliance. They told us the shot was safe and effective, and we all know it wasn't. And after all of that, now they want to design a system where your right to food, shelter, life choice, or your very survival is controlled in the exact same way. This is the softest, quietest, most modern form of tyranny, economic obedience. Let's call it what it is. A basic income isn't free money, it's dependency. And when government becomes your paycheck, it becomes your master. And don't for a second think that they won't attach conditions. We've already seen how it works. Get the shot or you lose your job. Say the wrong thing and your account is frozen. Protest peacefully and your life is shut down. Now imagine, get your next booster or lose your basic income. Comply with the next climate mandate or your income disappears. Say something the government doesn't like and your income evaporates. This isn't paranoia. This is exactly how centralized systems operate around the world. And this idea, this entire framework is coming straight from global institutions that have long pushed for complete social and economic control. Now let's talk about the economic engine behind this so you can see how it actually works. We are drowning in debt right now. We are paying billions of interest every single month. And now this government wants to pay millions of dollars to Canadians not to work indefinitely. Think of a family of four suddenly making more money by not working. What happens? People stop working, businesses collapse, services vanish, inflation explodes, and the only lifeline left, the government. That is not equity. That is not progress. That is the architecture of control. This isn't compassion. It's dependency dressed up as kindness. It destroys the incentive to build, to move forward. It collapses the middle class. It expands the welfare state until everyone is trapped inside it. Because here's the goal. This is not about helping the people. This is about creating a Canada where the government becomes the source of your survival and therefore the owner of your freedom. A nation where Canadians don't stand on their own 2 feet, but wait for permission, wait for approval, wait for deposits. A Canada where compliance becomes currency. And let me underscore this. Why is nobody talking about this? Why isn't this front page news? Why aren't the major networks warning Canadians that what this actually means? Why is one of the most consequential bills in modern Canadian history being pushed quietly through the Senate with barely a whisper from the people paid to inform the public? Is it because they're paid not to? Is it because the more silent it stays, the easier it is to pass? The less Canadians know, the less Canadians resist. And the government is counting on silence. They're counting on you not noticing until it's too late. Here's what you need to know. Call your federal MP, call the senators, especially those on the Legal Constitutional Affairs Committee. Do not call your MPP. Provincial legislators have no authority over a federal bill. This fight is occurring at the federal level and it's happening right now. Yes, legally, the federal government can create this guaranteed livable basic income. They have constitutional authority over federal income support, taxation, federal spending, and national social frameworks, programs tied to federal benefits. But here's the catch. Once a federal benefit exists, the government can attach conditions to it, legally through regulation, not even requiring a full parliament vote. They could say, to receive this benefit, you must comply with X requirement. To stay eligible, you must meet Y mandate. If you refuse, payment is suspended. We've seen this already with CERB audits, EI job search requirements, disability benefits, medical compliance. So yes, it is legally possible for the government to time mandates or conditions to your income. Now, what stops this overreach? Only three things: public outrage because politicians fear bad headlines, pressure, your calls to MPs and senators will matter, and constitutional challenge. If your income becomes subject to mandates, it may violate Section 7, Section 15, or Section 2. But that only happens after the harm has already been done. That's why the time to act is now, before it's law. Listen, this bill is building the infrastructure for dependency. We've already seen bank accounts frozen. We've already seen dissent punished. We've already seen mobility restricted. We've already seen digital compliance experiments. And now income centralization. When government gives you something, it can take it away. Once people depend on basic income, the state holds the leverage over your behavior, your speech, your medical choices, your travel, your digital identity, your political participation. And that's exactly why authoritarian systems around the world push UBI, not for compassion, but for control. Here's what we must do immediately. Call your federal MPs, demand they oppose Bill S-206. Call your senators, insist they do not surrender our freedoms. Share this video, make it viral, force the media to report. Ask every leadership candidate, where do they stand? Prepare now for constitutional challenge, but we should stop this before the damage is done. I am Councillor Lisa Robinson, and I will never stay silent while my country is being reshaped into something unrecognizable. Not by guns, not by force, but by quiet weapons of economic control. Because the truth is the foundation of justice, and without truth, nothing gets healed. Please stand up now before this becomes law, before this becomes permanent, before Canada becomes something no longer we recognize. I am Councillor Lisa Robinson, the People's Councillor, and I will never whisper the truth to protect the lie. If you believe real power belongs to the people, follow me, subscribe, and share this message. Until next time, stand strong, stay fierce, and God bless.